A $1.5 billion promise was meant to secure Vietnam's future in global aviation. One airport was designed to relieve a city bursting at its seams. But beneath the official story of progress are urgent questions about how a national ambition unraveled into bidding chaos, canceled contracts, and protests. At what cost did opportunity become scandal, and who stands to pay the real price? Tan Son Nhut International Airport, the main gateway to Ho Chi Minh City, was built to handle 25 million passengers a year. By 2019, it was already processing nearly 40 million, over 50% beyond its design. In 2023, that number pushed past 41 million, and projections for 2025 reach 50 million. The result is daily scenes of packed terminals, long lines, and delayed flights. With Vietnam's economy growing at over 6% each year and a booming middle class eager to travel, the pressure on the nation's aviation system became impossible to ignore. The government faced a dilemma. Expanding Tan Son Nhut was no longer an option. Hemmed in by dense neighborhoods and military land, the airport had no space left to grow. Meanwhile, Vietnam's regional rivals, Singapore and Bangkok, were racing to expand their own hubs, each designed for 60 million passengers or more. Without relief, Ho Chi Minh City risked losing its place as a Southeast Asian gateway. The answer came in the form of a vast, empty tract, 5,000 hectares of farmland and rubber trees in Dong Nai province, about 40 kilometers east of the city. This was the site chosen for Long Thanh International Airport. The plan was ambitious, an airport that could eventually handle 100 million passengers a year, built in phases. In its first stage, Longthan would match Tan Son Nhut's original capacity, with room to grow for decades to come. For Vietnam's leaders, it was more than a construction project. It was a national fix, a statement of intent to keep pace with the world's busiest air corridors. VND, $35,233 billion, about $1.5 billion. That was the headline figure attached to Long Thanh International Airport's main terminal contract, a number that quickly became shorthand for Vietnam's most ambitious infrastructure, promise. The contract covered the centerpiece of Phase 1, a 372,000 square meters passenger terminal designed to handle 25 million travelers each year. Investors and officials described it as the most advanced terminal ever attempted in Vietnam, with the scale and technology to rival regional giants in Singapore and Bangkok. The official pledge was simple: open the doors by the middle of the decade, restoring Ho Chi Minh City's place on the global aviation map and relieving pressure on Tan Son Nhut for good. Airports Corporation of Vietnam, the state-backed investor, committed to funding and overseeing the entire process. The terminal package, known as Package 5.10, would be the most closely watched procurement in the country's history. The schedule was tight, a 39-month construction window with commercial flights expected by late 2025 or early 2026. Delays, officials insisted, were not an option. The world was watching, and so were millions of Vietnamese travelers waiting for relief from overcrowded terminals and endless queues. If you like, understanding how global aviation decisions are made, not just where airports are built, consider subscribing. This channel explains the systems shaping air travel before they become obvious. As the tender process began, the $1.5 billion contract set the benchmark for what was at stake. Every step, from the first bid submission to the final contract signing, would be measured against that promise, on budget, on time, and ready to transform Vietnam's aviation future. By late 2022, the race to build Vietnam's new airport terminal hit an unexpected wall. The first tender for the $1.5 billion contract was canceled after none of the bidders met the strict requirements set out by the law on bidding. Not a single dossier passed the technical and financial criteria. The rules, especially the 990-day completion clause, proved too demanding, even for major international and local contractors hoping to lead the project. Airports Corporation of Vietnam returned all submissions, closing the process without a winner. Instead of relaxing the standards or extending the timeline, authorities chose to reset the entire competition. In March 2023, a new invitation went out. The criteria remained unchanged. Contractors faced the same tight deadlines and high technical barriers as before, but now the field was narrower and the pressure to deliver was even greater. With the world watching and the clock ticking, the second attempt would determine not just who could win, but who could even compete. 3 consortia stepped forward when the second round of bidding opened in March 2023. The Viatur Consortium, led by Turkey's IC Ictus, joined a field that also included the Hoa Lu Group, anchored by Kotakans, and a Chinese-led team under Czech BCEG Vietnam contractors. Each submitted their technical dossiers by the June deadline, hoping to prove they could deliver on the most demanding airport contract Vietnam had ever offered. The criteria were exacting. Every bidder faced a 990-day completion mandate, strict financial guarantees, and a requirement to match international benchmarks for safety, baggage handling, and passenger flow. By August, the list had narrowed to a single name. Only Viatur cleared the technical evaluation, with the other 2 consortia falling short on critical requirements. Official documents cited gaps in experience, equipment standards, and compliance with the law on bidding. For a project of this scale, the field had been reduced not by negotiation, but by the sieve of technical scrutiny. The competition was over before it truly began, leaving Viatur as the lone contender for a contract worth more than $1 billion. The stage was set for questions about process, fairness, and what happens when a mega-project faces a one-horse race. In August 2023, Airports Corporation of Vietnam formally awarded the main terminal contract, Package 5.10, to the Viatur Consortium, led by Turkey's IC Ictus. The winning bid was 27.8 trillion dong, nearly 20% below the original estimate. The announcement, intended to end months of uncertainty, instead pushed the controversy into a new arena. Within days, the losing Hoa Lu Consortium filed an official protest, alleging irregularities in the evaluation process and questioning Viatur's technical capacity. Their petition cited specific concerns about the Turkish partner's experience and compliance with Vietnamese bidding law. The document landed on the desks of the Ministry of Planning and Investment, the Ministry of Transport, and the State Capital Management Committee. In response, Deputy Prime Minister Tran Hong Ha ordered a full review of the procurement dossier, demanding a transparent and objective assessment. Oversight bodies were instructed to report their findings directly to the Prime Minister. The procurement process, once confined to closed-door meetings and technical panels, now faced public scrutiny at the highest administrative levels. Dong Nai Province, home to Longthan International Airport, became the center of a widening investigation as land compensation payments drew scrutiny. Over the course of 2024 and early 2025, 11 officials were arrested, including the chairman of the Longthan District People's Committee, Le Van Thiep. Police charged him and others with abuse of power, bribery, and violations in the handling of land clearance funds. Raids on district offices followed, and authorities seized compensation records tied to the airport's 5,000-hectare site. At the same time, the financial weight of the project continued to grow. Airports Corporation of Vietnam had raised over $6 billion for Phase 1, yet progress hovered around one-third complete. As legal fallout rippled through local government, the scandal's cost was no longer measured only in money, but in public trust and the credibility of Vietnam's largest infrastructure project to date. Industry analysts reviewing the Longthan case point to a pattern of warning signs that extend far beyond Vietnam. When a multi-billion-dollar airport tender ends with only one qualified bidder, it raises questions about true competition and the risk of inflated costs and unchecked shortcuts. Compressed timelines, often driven by political deadlines, can pressure both contractors and oversight bodies to move faster than due diligence allows. Technical disqualifications, such as failures in baggage handling systems or aviation security standards, signal gaps in market readiness or unclear criteria. These issues are not unique to one country. They mirror challenges faced by megaprojects from Berlin to Istanbul, where bidding cancellations, limited competition, and rushed schedules have led to delays and cost overruns. On every major airport project, procurement experts look for red flags, including lack of bidder diversity, repeated tender failures, and political pressure to accelerate delivery. Each one, left unchecked, can ripple through the entire aviation system, affecting investors, regulators, and travelers worldwide. Today, global infrastructure projects move billions with each decision, often in shadows where oversight struggles to keep pace. As nations rush to build, procurement transparency becomes the battleground. Public trust in these systems is not automatic. It is earned or lost with every contract signed. What would you demand next time?